Welcome to the MMHP in the 989, channeling all styles and eras of Michigan music history. Recorded live from the Michigan Rock Legends Hall of Fame, located inside the Bay County Historical Museum
from the city by the bay.
Featuring Dr. J, Fred Reif, Mr. Mike, and your host, Scott Baker. Brought to you by the 989 Podcast Network and the Michigan Rock Legends Hall of Fame, located at the Bay County Historical Society Museum at 321 Washington Avenue, Bay City, Michigan.
Welcome back to the MMHP in the 989. Here we are with part two, Mr. Jacquez-A. Here in getting him back here to Michigan is going to be the focal point of the start of this episode, but he's going to get to dive into the reunion, or the attempt at the reunion, and who did do the reunion for Savage Grace, as well as more of the backstory and all of the music that he put together, performed, and recorded between the time he was on Capitol Records with them till now. And he's even going to give us some future plans, and Al even brought his guitar. So stay right here, tune right back in. Part two.
Well, when did you decide to go back to Michigan then?
Well, Jeff Jones, again, the infamous Jeff Jones, he had played guitar in the Hideaways, was a mixer for Savage Grace, and he saw the end coming. He left before the band broke up. He was always been a smart guy. Went back to Ann Arbor and started playing in Guardian Angel, which was Scott Morgan, Terry Trabant, and David Morgan, Scott's brother, in Guardian Angel. And Jeff said, you need to come back to Michigan and be the other singer in Guardian Angel. So I ended up coming back, learned their tunes, playing rhythm guitar, not bass, and singing with Scott. So we were real, me singing backup, it was more solid backup singing, and I sang some lead too. It was a good band. There was just Action Records out of the UK, was a bunch of stuff released.
Wow. Yeah, it was kind of a Michigan supergroup in a way.
Right. And that's what a lot of people
know,
said. Yeah,
right.
You got Scott Morgan with Rationals and Al Jacquez from Savage Grace. And, we were handled by Peter Andrews again and John Sinclair. And we there was still a good amount of work, not as much, but we worked a lot. But Scott was not really comfortable with the two-singer thing. And once he let it be known he was going to go, Trabant, there was no way he was going to hang. So he left. But, then we ended up adding Mark Goujon and Tim McCoy and ended up becoming Lightning. And that was a really good band, too. And we toured and released an EP and did all that stuff. So
that band with Morgan, was that about a year? Or?
Yeah, I'd say about a year. Yeah. I'm not really good with time,
But you morphed right into the next record or band and put it on.
Next. I mean, we worked hard. We rehearsed, we recorded. We had John Lennon had a truck, the Butterfly truck. We had that in Michigan, and Jeff was a great engineer, so he recorded Guardian Angel and Lightning, and recorded the Rockets and John Pedangic, all these different bands with the Butterfly truck until, I don't know if it was Lennon or some of his people ended up saying, well, we got to get this truck back. Because, we were using it.
Was it there from the John Sinclair rally?
I think it might have
Yoko,
been. I wasn't involved in that in any way, but Jeff was.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Jeff Jones was involved in that big time. He and I produced records for Blind Pig Records, Jeff and I. So,
I saw your name. Was it the Boogie Woogie Red album?
Yep, we did Boogie Woogie Red. That was
and I saw I had no idea that you were originally involved in it.
Yeah, we recorded that. I remember setting up in the basement and stuff, and I did a lot of the, like second A2 work, setting up mics and stuff. But yeah, we ended up capturing that whole thing. That was cool. Boogie Woogie Red what an interesting project that was. What a character. But there was some cool music though,
Yeah, he was 12 years every Monday at the Blind Pig.
Right, 12 years. Wow. I remember recording him. That was cool. Again, some of that, Savage Grace is really important, but there was all this music before then, theater, whatever, and then afterwards there's been music, you know.
Well, I would see your band Measured Chaos a lot.
Yeah.
Well, a number of times.
Yeah, that was a good band. That was more blues. We called it blues, soul, and rock and roll, but definitely heavier on the blues, you know.
So this was after Lightning.
Right, well after
Round
Lightning.
to a Fall.
Yeah.
A halt, I should say. So you played in Measured Chaos. Were there any other bands before the Savage Grace reunion that we talked about at the start of the show?
Yeah, before Measured Chaos, when we had Guardian Angel, which became Lightning, and then went back to L.A. because Judy's dad got sick, and we went back to L.A. We still didn't have any children at the time. Went back to L.A., stayed with her parents, ended up singing at her dad's funeral, ended up staying for a while. I thought, let's give it another go. Studied acting, went to an actor's workshop for a while, auditioned for a bunch of stuff, got callbacks, but never got any real roles. And then I was in a band with Mark Tomorsky, who had come from Ann Arbor, called Customize, and we were doing, and Jeff produced a record on that band. We were doing, I don't know, power pop kind of stuff. It was edgy.
This would have been in the 80s, probably, when power pop was
but it was
at its moment of glory.
Customize.
Customize was the name of the band.
Yeah, check that out.
Really, really good material. And we did that whole LA scene, pay to play scene. Disgusting. And then I was involved with the project that ended up becoming the Jim Morrison movie. Alan Graham, who was a poet, was married to Jim's sister, Ann Morrison, I think, really. Nice lady. She liked me. They were doing this stage show, and I ended up being involved with that. And Atlantic recorded one of our nights at the Whiskey. We did it, Doors stuff. But there's just there was like 4 Jim Morrisons at one time. Alan just had all these wild ideas. He punched somebody in the cast and was like, I'm out of here. I'm not involved. I'm not going to be involved in this. And then, but they recorded this thing with Atlantic recorded us, and then the tapes the next day, Alan comes up and he's screaming at people. He goes, the only person that sounds any good on those tapes is Al. And I don't think he really liked me, but he knew that I could do the work. So it was one of those things. He said, oh, guy is Al, blah, blah. And then he punched this guy I knew who had been in Hair in New York. I went, I'm done with this. And then we ended up producing our own version of the show at the Palace in LA. And I was in the show and stage managing at the same time, which was really nuts, totally stupid. We had scrims coming in and I'm calling cues, and then I had to go out and sing. It was dumb. But, again, you learned from it. And then so we ended up coming back, and I worked with Jeff doing a lot of corporate gigs, did a whole lot of corporate, I did jingles. I'd done a little bit in LA, came back, and I was the singer coming back from LA. I did all these really cool jingles. I did a big Dodge campaign, did an East Coast General Motors campaign. We got our first house, down payment for our first house from Here's to You, America. That was all the words I sung. It was a good spot too, but it ran all over the country, started getting checks in the mail. Okay, so we put down money on the house. So I'm working for Jeff doing sound, singing jingles. Sometimes I was working 3 to 5 sessions a week, Some paid well, some didn't. But still, I'm singing, a lot. It was great for my chops. And I ended up getting a band called The Suspects, a horn band. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube, Dave Dixon's show of us live, literally live. It's killer. And then we released a cassette that we recorded live again on Hart Plaza, mono mix off the board. Jeff Jones again. Incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. I'm getting fired up here, but I mean, it came out really good. It's in tune. The singing's really good. There's some good songs, you know. But so I was in the Suspects too. That, you know, so
Was Suspects mid '80s, late '80s?
Yeah.
So this is going through the hair rock era,
Right?
And the new wave had been through. Were you considered at that time one of the aged? Well, you know, you did it in the late '60s, early '70s.
Right.
Were you considered like one of the vets on the scene that could really pull off the stuff?
Yeah, you know, and we were doing R&B. We were doing Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
So I was getting to do the stuff that I wanted to do when I was 16 that I had no right whatsoever singing when I was 16. But being, you know, 40, whatever, having kids, being married, having had to work, and then to sing, I was singing much better.
Wonderful. Wow.
You know, Suspects is a good band. There's that stuff. There's stuff all over YouTube with the Suspects, especially the Dave Dixon show, because that was Jay Barth, who worked with Seeger and Cheap Trick. I think he's the one who did the live sound at that one, and it sounds good. A lot of original tunes, some of mine, some of Matty Lee's. A guy named Tim Seeger, no relation to Bob. So is that band too. Wow. Goes on and on and on.
Yeah. And well, what inspired you to try to get Savage Grace back together in the 90s then? Been a long time. It would have been over 20 years, right?
Yeah, it was, you know, it was really Jeff Jones, I think. We should.
He should be here. Right?
Yeah, he should be here. We need to record this stuff. You know, he's a good guitar player too. I mean, wow. We need to record this stuff. Ron's got songs, and we got together and noodled, and so suddenly you've got a group. Got Mark Goujon, who can play for sure and sing. Got me. I can play guitar. I wasn't a great guitar player, but I was competent. I could sing. Ron could sing. Was a great guitar player. Jones is a great engineer. We had some good songs, so Jeff said we need to capture it. You know, we tried to get the guys to do it, like I mentioned earlier, but they just didn't want to fly in and blah blah blah. So we just did it. You know, it just seems silly to me. Somebody says, I'll buy the tape. You can use my studio. To say no.
But so after you did One Night in America, the album, did you tour or did you gig fairly regularly?
No, we toured. We didn't tour. We gigged a little bit. We played Memphis Smoke. There's a live video of that. I think that's pretty darn good. We just did a few gigs. It wasn't. I don't know. You go through phases and I think that some of the guys in the band just like, well, you know, we've paid our dues. I don't want to just do gigs. And sometimes that's all there is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you have to decide, do you want to play? I mean, I'm playing out now. And I'm trying to be choosy where I play. But I think it's good to play. I should get out and gig, you know, while I still can, for pity's sake. You know, I mean, Ron's dead, right? You know.
So it all ended when Ron died, basically?
Yeah, when Ron passed, it's like we weren't going to do that again. Okay. I play his songs. I love playing them. But without Ron, it's funny, you know, you look back on Savage Grace, and for a lot of people, you know, they considered me the lead singer. And a lot of pictures and stuff, I'm in front, but you know, I look back at it and I see Ron as being as equally as important as me, you know, and he was a good singer, great writer. So it's interesting how, you know, the perspective changes. And then now, once he died, it was like, there can't be a Savage Grace, you know, even if
you could get Zach and
even
Senor
if we
back.
could get Zach and Senor back, there was something about Ron that he was a catalyst, maybe. You know, it's hard to say, but once he was gone, I was like, yeah, there's time to move on, do other stuff. But I play a lot of his songs. I'll probably play at least one tomorrow, maybe more. Well, he's a good writer.
Now, besides solo, I know you team up with Drew Abbott every once in a while. Of course, Abbott was a guitar player with Seeger and the Third Power.
Yep.
Is that still going on? Do you still gig together? Or?
We haven't in a while. We did a gig last summer. We played a birthday party for a Navy SEAL. It was awesome. Bunch of Navy SEALs and what they call their dirty boatmen, which are the guys that would drop them off and stuff, who drove the boats. Turns out that John Rapp, who worked for Seeger, was a dirty boatman. And he's actually got commendations and been shot at and all this stuff. But he said, will you play this party? So we played a party. Drew, me, Tim Sparling, Roger, I forget the great drummer. There's these musicians there. It's ridiculous. In Michigan, they're so good. Drew Abbott is still really solid.
So you guys, when you play together, you kind of play in a band then? Well, it's just the two of you?
The gig we did last summer was a 5-piece band. Drew and I have played a couple duets, but we had an opportunity to do one just recently at Trinity House, and Drew said, you just should do the gig yourself. And I said, okay, I'll do that. It was a good gig, too. It went really well. So I'm not sure if Drew and I are going to go again. I'd do it in a second. It just really depends on how he feels about it. He's got some more. He has a CD called Silver that he did. It's got some cool songs on it,
Okay.
Really, really good stuff.
Well,
so I don't know.
I know you have your guitar here. Can we talk you into playing a number or two?
Sure. I got
Excellent.
One. Oh. You guys have some great questions.
We want to talk about the solo career. That's definitely. And have you put out?
I have a single CD called the. Gee, wake up there. Put new strings on yesterday. Bad idea. Called The Blues According to the Gospel, and it's a bunch of blues songs with gospel roots to it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are my own. No, all of them are mine except one of Ron's. The solo thing originated because besides I wanted to make some money, I love to sing. I just didn't want to deal with a band. Just didn't want to deal with it. And now I'm actually playing in the band, the Jacquez-A Band. We usually play once a month. In the summer, we might do twice a month. We do Geezer Happy Hour in Ann Arbor. Yeah. It's the best.
Is that with Randy and
Yep, Randy and
Richard Dishman?
Right, Richard Dishman, who's a force.
Right.
He's a force. The man can play the drums, and he's a good singer.
So did you go to one of those, Fred?
I've been to a few of them.
Oh, okay.
When I lived in Ann Arbor, I used to go every Friday.
Okay. I didn't realize those were going on that long. So they've been going on for a while then.
Yeah.
So were you dancing up a storm?
No.
See Freddie on top of the table.
But I didn't.
He's waiting for him to call him up so he can play his,
right.
his board.
I'm not being rude. I just trying to make sure this is going to stay in tune. This is the first acoustic. This is the first guitar I actually ever bought myself. Believe it or not, I got a telly that Jeff Jones gave me. I got an acoustic that Jeff Jones gave me. I got an SG that a guy was in a worship band with gave me. And then I've got a Strat copy that Judy and I found in a Salvation Army in Petoskey for $25.
Wow.
And I had two different guys work on it, and it's a great guitar. And it ended up costing me $45, But this is the first acoustic guitar I actually bought because I didn't want to beat up the one that Jeff gave me, even though his sounds better than this. We'll see if this stays in tune. So anyway, I was going with Judy to the beauty parlor, the salon in Dexter, Michigan. And we're driving in the car. She's driving. I'm sitting there looking at all the beauty. And we're going down Parker Road, and we pass Jerusalem Road. And this song gets dumped in my brain. And I'm sitting there, I'm singing it to myself, thinking. We get to the salon, and I ask, I'm going to do it old school. Give me a piece of paper and a pen. So while she's getting her hair done, I'm sitting there in the salon writing down lyrics and fooling around with it, and ended up writing three verses. And then at the gig one day, I got to the middle, and I knew I had to go to another verse. And I said, this song's too short. And I started playing some chords I liked, and ended up writing the bridge at the gig.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And
inspiration.
Yep. And so, and then I ended up feeling the song's either about the Underground Railroad or faith, or both. You know, I guess if you were going to be involved in Underground Railroad, you need to have faith in something. And I never intended to write a song about Underground Railroad. It was given to me. But what it made me think of this tune, so I used this as an intro. My song is fast. This one's, I am a poor, wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, no trial or danger in that great land to which I go. I'm going there to see my mama. She said she'd meet me when I come. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only I'm going home. I'm only I'm going home. Don't pass by the Jerusalem road. You're on your way. Open your eyes. Day to day, you must shed your disguise. It's time to choose. Follow the code. Don't pass by the Jerusalem road. There's a house on a country lane, golden fields heavy with grain. The family bears such a heavy load. The first house on the Jerusalem road. This is the part I wrote at the gig. It's a long road. You got to stay in the light. Such a hard road. Yeah, you're doing what's right. Stay in the light. Doing what's right. And if you find you have lost the way, you missed the signs, wandered astray, take the path to that humble abode. Take the turn at Jerusalem road. First house on the Jerusalem road. Don't pass by the Jerusalem road.
Incredible.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, hopefully you're going to play that tomorrow night. Okay. Yes, definitely.
Started playing.
Everybody's got to hear that.
Speaking
I
of this,
never pictured myself writing a song like that.
it's incredible how it took one running into the other, and that melded well. I mean,
Yeah, it did.
The
It
vibe
worked.
works so
Yeah,
good. And the bridge at the end, wow.
But I never pictured myself writing a tune, and I didn't. Sometimes you said, I think I'm going to write a love song. I want to whatever, but I never thought about writing a song about, the Underground Railroad, and it's one of those things. I think it's about both things. I think it's about faith, and I think it's also about the Underground Railroad or a journey too. But
Give us, faith plays a huge role in what you've done in the last 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
Bring us up to date with what you've had going on with your, there's a lot of religion now. There's a lot of your solo careers now going on. I mean, bring us up to par on how it all came together for you.
Well, it's a real long story. I mean, I grew up kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. I went to Catholic school, so I was exposed to, faith and religion in that context. Then when we left New York City, still, went catechism and all the stuff you're supposed to do. But then when I started getting into music, just sort of all of that, it not completely faded away. I mean, I was someone who still believed in God, but I just basically thought, I can do whatever I want. I believed a lot of the hooey. There's no, actions don't have consequences. You can smoke this, nothing bad will happen. You can do this, nothing bad will happen. And most, a lot of it was just not truth. Actions have consequences. You can have a drink, but if you have 25, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And some of the some of the weirder drugs, the cocaine and stuff, it's just not good for you. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, so anyway, I got wrapped up in, I can do whatever I want. And then after our daughter Noelle was born, I was working during the day and singing at night and just beating myself to death, still smoking, cigarettes, drinking too much, just doing some stupid stuff, And one day on the way to work, I said a prayer. I said, okay, God, Lord, I give up. I cannot stop being a jerk. I can't stop doing these things. I need to stop. You may have it. It's kind of like Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And after that, I got to work and I had to work. And I didn't think of it. But within 2 weeks, I had literally stopped doing everything that was on my list that I wanted to stop.
What year was this?
Noelle was a baby. So 1981 or 2.
Oh.
So this was pre even the reunion of Savage Grace and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my journey has been, sort of wonky, but that happened. And then not too long after that, Judy and I, we talked to each other. And do you want to live here, Al? And I said, no. And I said, do you want to live here? No. Well, why are we living here? Okay, let's go back to Michigan. So we ended up coming back to Michigan. In the interim, I got involved in a church in Brentwood that was, the choir were all these professional singers and stuff and actors and everything. And the choir director had me stand next to a guy who was, I don't know how old he was, but he was a tenor and he was still really good. And he could read, he could take music and literally turn it upside down and he could read it, Right. And he had sung with like Bix Beiderbecke. I mean, the guy was, again, this was 1981. So wow. He was still viable, could sing his butt off. I couldn't read worth a dang. So the choir director just had me stand right next to this guy. And I was quick enough, I would get the parts literally milliseconds late. So I got to sing with all these great people. Then we left, came back to Michigan. And, I got involved in church, uninvolved in church. And then for, at one time, Noelle, our daughter, she was involved in this church, Northridge Church. And she said, you need to go there. So we went. And before you know it, we were in the kids ministry. I was there for 5 years. We were there for 5 years doing the kids ministry. After a while, I started singing in the choir, but I didn't tell anybody I could sing. I didn't want to be that guy, you know. And then one time, Noel again, he said, "You really ought to tell Paul that you can sing." So I told the director, you know, I can sing. I've done this stuff. So he had me sing a few tunes. It was like, "Oh, really? Okay, you actually can sing." But I had a ball for a year singing with a bunch of guys. Just, you know, it was a mixed choir, men and women. But, you know, he had me with a group of guys, more kind of Broadway baritones, tenors, singing with all them. It was great. No pressure. Don't have to be cool. Just sing right. And so we're doing the kids ministry. I'm singing. Then I ended up on staff for 2.5 years being a music director. And that was incredible, because suddenly the focus was not supposed to be, not whether I sung or not was not the point. Is how can you put this team together? And had people from brilliant vocalists to people who could barely play guitar, all in the same groups. And it was really cool, because being a jerk was not an option. It was like, these people have volunteered. You work with them and do it from a godly perspective instead of an Al perspective. And it was really good for me. I mentioned that SG, one of this guy, Mike, who ex-biker, karate guy, unbelievable. I taught him theory, you know, and ended up working with him. And he's become a much better guitar player. And part of it, not all of it, a little piece of it is because, you know, I worked with him and taught him things that other people hadn't taught him. So, yeah, you know, numbers, right? If you're in G, there's your 1. Oh, that's a 2. You can do a number system like they do in Nashville. Oh, yeah. You know, and I told him a little theory about major thirds and minor thirds, and it helped his playing. Gave me a guitar.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah.
You know? I said, I can't take this guitar. He says, I don't care. I'm putting it in your back seat.
Wow.
I said, I great guy. I still see him once in a while. Go visit the church in Brighton and see him. He's a great man. But so that whole thing happened. And then I got a call one day from a guy, Keith Lawrence, who was into Southern gospel. And he said, I want you to come and audition for my gospel trio. Okay. So I did. I said, Southern gospel, I'm basically a rock blues singer, you know. But it ended up working. They had a real good tenor. He was a baritone, had been the lead singer, but his voice didn't serve him as well as it could anymore. But he knew all the forms, so he ended up being the baritone. I became the lead singer, sang with them for about 7 years. We did 2 CDs. Second one's quite good, and I contributed 3 originals to that one, I think. Yeah. One's called When Jesus Comes Back to Town. Another one I wrote at Savage Grace time called Crying for the Day. And there was another one too, I forgot what it was. It'll come back. But anyway, and so it's been, you know, sort of a back and forth dance. I would like to say that I'm a man of faith, you know, try to be a Christ follower, but I'm hopefully not a religious man, you know. I'm still working through it.
You've got different routes you can take when you feel like taking those routes.
Yeah, you know, but I really, doctrinally, I believe that Jesus was who he said he was. You know, and I know that bothers some people, it offends some people, but that's where I'm coming from. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You know, I celebrate Easter because I believe the resurrection happened. You know, I don't want to live in a theocracy. I don't want to force anybody to believe what I believe, but that's where, and I've got me through a lot of, it's made me a better man. And I also think you had mentioned perspective, which is really cool. It's given me a bigger perspective, a wider perspective. You know, I'm supposed to be a man who's kind. I'm supposed to love people. I'm supposed to feed people. And I'm not saying I do all those things, but that stuff's really important to me. And it's not, they're not suggestions.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus said, feed them. You know, and it's just, so I guess I covered it. I don't know. You know, I really appreciate you asking me.
Absolutely. That's been part of your thing for the last however long, since you've been solo, basically, right? A little bit of that, a little bit of rock, a little bit of everything. I mean, you've brought it together here where you're at right now. So,
yeah, I mean, when I in my like let's say tomorrow in the presentation, I'll do All Along the Watchtower, unless my voice is really troubling me. But I'll do that. I'll do a little Dylan. I'll do some blues. I'll do a couple gospel tunes. I'll do a whole lot of Michigan rock tunes that I respect. I'll probably do a Dick Wagner tune. Definitely do a Bob Seger thing. Do a Rationals tune and tell stories about. Because I got to interact with these people, I got to see Bob Seger in The Last Herd at the Fifth Dimension singing, did that East Side Story. I do East Side Story. So, and the gospel music's in there because it's just part of who I am, and so far people seem, to get it. There are folks that, it's not their thing, but they don't discount me because I'm basically just sharing who I am.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe what I believe. I'm just this is the package.
Exactly.
This is who it is. It's got 6 strings, not 5.
So East Side Story. That's still one of my favorite Bob Seger songs of all time. Any chance we could?
I don't know if I know all the lyrics. I use my iPad like the kids do.
Yeah, you and me both.
I do, seriously.
That's all right.
Let me see if I can make sure this thing is. Oh, it's staying in tune. I guess it's good that we're doing this because.
Break that bad boy in for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I had my other guitar fixed today. Popped by John Kearney's house. John used to work with Dick Wagner.
Where's she live?
Guitar tech in Lapeer.
On Lapeer.
On the way in.
I saw you post that.
See, I'm not sure I remember all the lyrics. We'll try. Beneath the bare light bulb above, she gazed into the eyes of love. Beneath that dirty neon light, she begged him, don't come out tonight. We work hard somehow, maybe we can find a way out, baby. I messed it up. He laughed and said, I got to go. And she cried, no. Johnny, Johnny, no. Anyway, I can't remember all the lyrics, but it's a cool tune.
Oh, it is.
Beneath the bare light bulb above, she gazed into the eyes of love.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, that's poet. It's good stuff.
Yeah, to me, that should have been such a big hit. I don't know. Maybe it was because it was kind of a dark story with a robbery that went wrong and her boyfriend gets killed. But it was a great tune.
Maybe the timing.
Yeah.
People weren't really looking at Michigan that closely. Right. And I think, Bob had to he had to really work hard to break through finally.
Yeah, it took a long time.
I remember I talked to Drew. They were out on the road a ton. And Bob was out before there was any Silver Bullet Band,
right?
With Last Herd and the Borneo Band, and he did solo gigs.
Yeah, Bob Seger's System.
Yeah, the System. He did the work. He went out and did the work.
Did you have a personal relationship with him, or still do, or
not really?
No?
He saw the Suspects a few times because we would play at the Jukebox up in Birmingham, and he would hang out there. And I remember him coming up and talking to me between sets at one gig. But never really hung out with Bob. Plus, everyone was working. Unless you're doing a festival, Bob was at the Silver Bell and someone else was at the Grandy and someone was up in Bay City. So you didn't get to hang that much, And I think there was also, for certain bands, a little bit of competition, sort of, like Dick Wagner was always a competitive guy, but he and Koss had respect for each other, which is very interesting because they both said to me at one time later in their careers, oh yeah, that man could play, but when we were touring and doing festivals together, I don't think I ever saw them talk to each other,
And you eventually did play with Dick.
That's another one. Yeah. Wow. Sang with Dick was over a year, and that was an incredible experience. What a catalog.
Remembering the Child? Was that where
I did, though. Yeah, Remembering the Child. There was 2 big concerts we did that were recorded. Actually, there's some good video of me on both of those.
The blues place down in down by the Palace, Auburn Hills. He played Callahan's.
Right, Callahan's. We did there, and then we also did the. Didn't we do the Fox once? Yeah, we did the Fox, and then we also did the Soundboard.
Oh, Motor City Soundboard.
Motor City Soundboard.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, because at the Soundboard, I got to sit with Mark Farner and talk for a while.
Nice.
Cool, man. It was such a pleasant just to talk to him. Hi, how you doing? And talking about stuff and a little bit talk about faith and just.
You guys share that similar path,
right?
Oh my Lord, yeah.
So yeah, those gigs were really cool because I got to play with a lot of cats, you'd never played with before. Some guys up from Nashville. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Guys that one guitar player I remember, never heard of him. Some kid who could just burn. I don't remember his name right now, but he could play, man. And they go, oh yeah, there's 600 of them down there like that. Nashville cats, right?
Yeah, there you go. Jazz and
cats. Play claims country water, whatever. Speaking of John Sebastian.
Yes, indeed.
Wow. Another poet. Guy was great.
Yeah.
Give us another tune of yours.
Never mind. Okay. Oh, I got one. It's got a good story too. So for a while, even though I had done a bunch of commercial work, the commercial scene started dying here in Detroit. I ended up going out for General Motors, selling cars. And I was in Chicago, walking to the gig. It was the middle of winter. I had on a triple fat goose and a really fine double-breasted suit with a cool tie, fake Rolex. And, stopped wearing that, though, because a couple times in New York, I'd see guys eyeing me because they thought I'm going, does that guy want my Rolex? It cost me $10. Forget it. I stopped wearing them because some people are scary. But anyway, I'm in Chicago. It's the middle of winter. It's cold as all get out. I'm walking to do the gig to go talk about Oldsmobiles, and this pigeon took off in front of me, and again, this song is planted in my brain. The whole entire melody, the entire first verse. I didn't have a guitar. So after 8 hours of work, I went back to the hotel and had one of these little recorders and sang the song. Then when I got home a week or two later, I sat down and tried to figure out the changes. It's a song about three important women in my life: my grandmother, my mother, and my wife. And it's not like exactly chronological. It's sort of like three important women thrown in a blender. You can get all these different words.
Yes.
I heard a church bell ring and I thought about my old life in New York. A white dove on the wing brought a tear and a feeling of remorse. Life was easy then, there was sun every day. You took care of me and showed me the way and all the things that I should do. I never said thank you. I heard a palm tree sway and I watched as a leaf rolled down a hill. Long lazy nights in LA were the start of a love that lingers still. Life was easy then, there was sun every day. You took care of me, girl, you showed me the way and all the things that we could do. I never said thank you. Oh no, no. In my life, there's been for me to change. If I lose or win, I begin and end with you. I heard a robin sing and I laughed as I watched the children play. And when a church bell rings, I can smile when I think about today. Life was easy then, there was sun every day. You took care of me and showed me the way, and all the things that we can do. Never said thank you. Oh no, no. I think that E string went out of tune, but yeah, that another one that was given to me. Oh, well, I wrote the first verse in Chicago, and then it had all the melody and everything, and I wrote the first verse, and I was like, okay, well, gee God, thanks for the verse. Where's the rest? And I literally felt like, okay, I gave you the first verse. Now go write the rest of the song. I really almost felt like, I know that sounds crazy, but like a message. Yeah. Okay, son.
Yeah.
I gave you this whole first verse.
Yeah.
Finish the song.
Yeah.
You know, it's on you now, man. So, and then the bridge it came later. I don't know how. I'm trying to remember where it came from, but I don't remember.
Wow. That was a great song.
Yes, indeed.
I usually do that one too. It seems to go over.
Oh yeah, it's a great song.
Do you have anything?
We're getting a little preview of the show, and I'm sure it sounds like dynamite.
It's fun.
All right. Yeah.
You got any Savage Grace left in you for one more?
Or
even a tidbit?
What's that?
Even if you only got a little bit, what do you got in you for it? Something for our listeners.
What's that? Judy said blues. That's right, because I write a lot of blues, but if you want to hear Savage Grace, then I could do... She came to me in the morning, then caught my eye and said it's time. She raised her eyes to the window and cried out, "Don't look back." Little frog in there. I didn't have an answer. The words were there, but wouldn't come. But she saw right through my silence and cried out, "Don't look back." Lady Rain, come home, 'cause it's our job to be together. Lady Rain, come home, for the days have grown so much darker, and I stand alone. Yes, I stand alone. It's half a song.
Yeah. From the first album.
Yep, from the first album.
Definitely hear a little bit of Beatles influence in that
Oh,
song.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's very similar to Day in the Life, I think. Yeah. We also got so many of these songs. I mean, Procol Harum tunes with this descending line that runs through it. That's runs right through it, like Whiter Shade of Pale.
Right.
It's all that Bach stuff.
You didn't spend any time with Procol Harum, did you?
Yes.
Tell me.
I didn't hang out with them, but Robin Trower wanted to produce. As a matter of fact, if I feel like it tomorrow, I'll tell that story and maybe play one of their tunes. Robin Trower wanted to produce Savage Grace. We played with them at Wampler's Lake Pavilion, and they were killer. We opened up for them. I think we supplied the PA. They were so well rehearsed. It's that English thing. They were so well rehearsed and clean. Robin Trower was great. He wanted to produce the band, and he told Lubin, and he said, I want to produce the band, but you cannot tell anybody. I'm not sure it was some sort of a contractual thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Lubin tells Mike Gormley, and it's in the Free Press on Sunday. And we never heard from Robin Trower again.
Oh, man.
Too bad.
So,
Who do we have in here that had the party with? Was it Steve
Lyman.
Steve Lyman? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
the,
yeah.
SRC.
yeah, they used to
Pretty
hang
good
out
friends
there
with
in
him,
Ann
yeah.
Arbor on Morgan Road, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other anybody else from that era that you maintain contact with to this day? I mean, you might not have played with them, but maybe than you did back then. But you've worked up a long career relationship of
Not really.
any friendships that even overseas or anybody?
Well, one guy, non-musician in a sense, is Tony Ray, who started Cream magazine. I mean, was the real force behind it. He and I are in contact all the time.
Wow.
He actually was working on a book called The Greatest Band You Never Heard. And it was going to be about Savage Grace.
Oh, really? Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very
he never
cool.
finished the book, but he always felt
I
like
wonder if he'd be interested in being on a podcast talking about Cream Magazine. That would be a
he'd love
pretty
to.
interesting show.
Oh, he'd love to. I'll
Yeah,
put
if
you
you
guys
could
in
give
touch.
us some contact.
Yeah,
info.
absolutely.
Yeah, we'd get in touch with him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Is he in Michigan?
No, he's in England.
England. Okay.
Oh.
He was an English wanker.
We're gonna have to do
Came
a
over.
call on that one. He's a
can
wanker.
we get our vast budget and
Yeah,
fly
you know
over?
how it is.
Yeah, fly him over first class. But, whew, it's been quite.
Wow.
Where are you heading,
wonderful.
man? What's the future for Al?
What's the future for Al? I'm just, I'm very thankful that I'm alive. I'm in good health. I've got, I don't have to take any drugs. I've got a jammed finger and my voice is in pretty good shape. I'm blessed that my wife has stuck with me through all these years. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, I'm going to do more gigs with the Al Jacquez Band at Geezer Happy Hour. Got a couple concerts coming up with that band. We're going to play at the Goose Lake site, which will be
There we
totally
go.
wild.
Wow.
Got some more solo stuff coming up. I do this cigar bar in Adrian called Challengers, which is, it's a cigar bar. It's just a really weird gig. I never pictured I'd do it, but the owner really likes me. I like her. I just play whatever I want.
You have to play through the cigar smoke?
Oh yeah, but they have these great fans in there.
Oh,
that suck.
okay.
It's pretty cool. And I do 3 sets there, so it keeps me on I like to do 2. Keeps me on my toes. I'm doing that, and then the Geezer Happy Hour, and what else? I play at a place called Story Point, which is it's like a warehouse for old people, but it's really a nice place. It's not a bad place. And they have the whole continuum from independent living people who go out and drive and whatever to folks that are at the end stages of Alzheimer's, all within the same complex. And I go there and play there, and I usually play for the independent living folks. And that's a great audience. I can tell stories about Savage Grace. I sing a Frank Sinatra tune, do a Duke Ellington tune, play a Beatles tune, play an Al tune. It's really fun. And it's like this. I can talk to them between songs. They're very receptive. And then I go over to memory care and sing for the folks with Alzheimer's, which is always different every time. sometimes you feel like you make contact, and other times it's just, okay, get through the tune, sing the best you can, do the best job you can for people, because you never know if you're making contact or not, And so it's really good for my ethic, because it'd be real easy in that situation to kind of just toss it off, who cares? But I think sometimes I do almost better because there's no,
You're trying to connect.
Yeah, trying to connect, So it's not like you try too hard, but you try to put the whole thing together. So it's like the chords are being played right, and you're singing the melody, and you're not singing too hard, or you're, in the moment with the song. So it's really cool. I like playing there. I usually play there about once a month. Just going to keep, trying to book gigs. It's rough because a lot of people don't want to pay.
Yeah.
And I will sing for free at certain churches. I will sing, I'll sing for Jesus for free, but I'm not coming to your club for $50 or $75. And I've had people who, well, will you do it for $75? I will not.
Right.
It's not happening, but it's good exposure. Yeah. Sure.
Exposure.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's what I need now.
I need lots of exposure. It's like, what?
Yeah. So Robin Tower can hear this again, so he can produce another record for me.
Really? Right. So, but I'm playing as much as I can.
Are you going to do any reissues of the former records? Any of them, or are you looking ahead, making sure you're out on iTunes and everything? I mean, is there a digital layout? I know a lot of guys in your boat right now that are trying to look after their archives a little bit. Is that something that's
something that I've it's funny you bring it up, just recently started thinking about. I've got a lot of stuff in different resolution, MP3s, and M4As, and waves, huge waves, whatever. Got a lot of that stuff. I'd like to put out a record of all my original stuff, all acoustic. And I'm thinking now that I might be good enough that I could do it with acoustic guitar and voice and literally do it live, and maybe do it over 3 days in the basement or something, and play the same tunes a bunch of times and just let Judy pick the best take or something. No, she's really good at that stuff, helps me. But something like that. So it was just real.
Yeah.
And then.
So you got a studio?
Not really,
Basement
but
studio?
I've got a computer and a bunch of mixers and mics, so I can set something up. It sounds pretty decent. As long as you don't overmodulate that darn digital stuff.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind doing that, and also. I have the Blues According to the Gospel CD, and I keep getting, get 100 copies. I need to get it out on some of the digital outlets. But I mean, Spotify, I have a problem with all that stuff. Yeah. It's just get 0.004 cents for every download. It's disgusting, And people say, well, how come you're on Spotify? I said, I don't want to be on Spotify. You could go to my website and buy. I've got tons of songs for sale there. I should probably improve that interface so that people can get little samples or whatever. But the whole Spotify thing makes me nuts.
Or go to Bandcamp, which is
right.
A lot of guys are finally doing.
Yeah.
Because, on a $15 CD or download, you're making $13.90 or $14.10, somewhere in that ballpark,
Yeah.
Or as opposed to a broken up penny per full release,
Oh, I know.
So
it's crazy. So. But, I'd need to, do some more compilations and clean some stuff up.
So that's in the works too.
Yeah.
Part of the history coming up here.
Yeah. I might as well do it while I'm still alive because I'm in good health, but you never know.
Yeah.
Not being morose, it's truth.
That's why I wanted to bring it up because we've had a lot of guys through here, and I work with a lot of, I worked with Dick. I was doing his archives for a while back in the 2000, So it's like, it's a thing. It's like we are at the age now where how are we going to have it out? How is it going to sound? What we're going to do with it. I might as well make a little coin right now with it if I can.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brilliantly forgot to bring my Savage Grace compilations and my Blues According to the Gospel CD with me. So I won't be selling merch tomorrow, but don't push me down the stairs, honey.
Well, Al, thank you for coming on the show and being in town and for doing our show tomorrow night.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure some more stuff. Mike's our archivist, so he'll be taping tomorrow night, and I always tape our shows too because I tape when I play as well. So I'll have a copy tomorrow night for you. But I'm sure we'll have a few other questions, or if something cool comes up, we can talk about it.
Oh yeah,
live,
absolutely.
You know? Yeah,
absolutely.
Jacquez-A, everybody.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Got some good stuff, I think.
I think so.
I think so, man.
On behalf of our hosts, this podcast wouldn't be here without generosity of the Bay City Historical Museum, which hosts the Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame. We'd also like to thank all of our guests, and especially to the listeners. The MMHP is found at 989.network, or where all podcasts can be found. You can find updated information as well as Dr. J and Sir Fred's Picks of the Week on Facebook. Also on Facebook, check out Mr. Mike's Local Music Live series and Scott's Mid-Mitten 15 from Harvest Canteen Studios, featuring one-on-one interviews with Michigan music artists. You can connect with Scott on the web at scottbakermusic.com, Dr. J at michiganrockandrolllegends.com, Sir Fred at fredrife.com, and Mr. Mike on YouTube as Mr. BT1. That's MRBTEE and the number 1.
On behalf of us hosts, Dr. J, Sir Fred, Mr. Mike, and myself, we'd like to thank Mr. Eddie Switek, the voice of the MMHP and the 989.
I got a really nice thing on Facebook. Someone sent a note that said, I'm glad to see that Scott's doing the gig. He's a good guy.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
man, dude, thank you.
I don't know who
I'm honored.
sent it. Isn't that neat, though, that somebody,
Yeah, let me slide by here.
you know, just that they would do that. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes me feel good about
Yeah,
that.
Facebook drives me crazy, except when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah,
And you go, well, okay, someone's
paying attention,
paying attention,
positive
and they
energy.
got something positive to say about the gig. You know,
Absolutely.
you know, not that geezer again or something.
Oh, and I know. I was gonna wait. I was wanting to hear tonight how many people said, "Really, Scott?" All right, but no, I'm getting my name out, man. So I've been doing this for a while now. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. That means a lot to me.
I was off of Facebook for a day yesterday, and it drove me nuts.
Yeah, I never seen you go through social media withdrawal quite like that, Freddie.
Because you're just like a teeny bopper, Fred.
Well,
This thing we shot
everybody,
at,
all my friends are
Cranbrook.
55 and above, it seems like. So
You know, it's funny, because life goes on. You move. You know, this is a very important part of my life, but there was a lot of music before and a lot of music after. And sometimes when I look at pictures and stuff, I think new things come to my mind, stuff that I hadn't,
All right.
you know,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember we did that. Oh, that was really cool. Or, oh, I remember when we had, that really sucked, you know.
Yeah, some memory come
Oh
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just interesting, the memories that come back to you.
is there a new group called Savage Grace?
Yeah, I think there's a heavy metal group.
Right,
Yeah.
because I Googled it.
Yeah.
There
Or
was
I
a
did it.
heavy
I
metal
looked on
group.
YouTube, and there was
Thank
some
you.
heavy metal band, and I thought,
I can tell you the whole story.
that's not hell.
Am I in the right place? Am I
You're
good?
in the right
Yeah.
place as long as you got that mic on. It's
Cool.
We're recording.
Oh,
so
great.
We pre-record, and I use some of the pre-record just to.
That's
mess
fine.
with.
No, actually, when Savage Grace broke up, some people, it was a band called Tight, I think, but I don't know if that's worthy of a quote, got in touch with us and said, oh, we want to use the name Savage Grace. Is that okay? And I said, at that point, it was literally right after the band broke up. So I was a little bit bitter, to say the least.
Yeah.
With bitterness is a total waste of time, but what did I know? I was in my early 20s. So I said, I don't care, but you should know, we don't own the name. Warner Brothers owns it.
Hello.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Duh.
Mhm.
But they used the name, and they had a really good female singer. They ended up moving out to LA, dumped her, which was the best part of the band, and they became a heavy metal, speed metal band. One of their albums was called Dominatrix or something, and it was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So
is that the